I'm going to be going through each of my art pieces for 2022. Now, it's been a long, stressful year for me, but one thing I've been consistent on is I've always been making art this year, and I've seen a lot of progress. Now, this is also the first year that I started sharing my art online and posting on Instagram and YouTube and things like that. So that was kind of a big step for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's dive right in. This shoe was drawn as part of Cindy Wider's drawing class. This one was actually done in 2021, so it's the only one I'll show that wasn't from 2022. But I've never shown this to anyone, so I'm going to show it here because I'm super proud of it. I think the reflections look super cool, and the shoelaces are kind of hard to see but are very detailed. Bleach is my favorite anime by far, and I know the anime's made a comeback, but I kind of already know what happens in the manga, so it's really hard for me to go and watch a show when I already know what happens. I don't know if some of you feel the same way, but this is my first drawing I did using Copic markers, and I think the lighting in it actually turned out pretty well. Now, Sorcery Fight was a very, very good TV show, but the movie left a lot to be desired, to be honest. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10, so it was entertaining for what it was, but I really wish that they would have put a little bit more effort in the story or something. It was a far cry from the TV show, but in this one I really like the purple and gold and how they contrast with each other. Now I really like those character splash pages that people draw where they have 100 characters or something, and so this one is kind of inspired by that, where I took a bunch of Demon Slayer posts on Pinterest and I sketched them all together. So I think I have 5 characters here. I joined this sketching meetup group where they would meet once a week and come together and sketch random things. So I showed up one time, and the first time I went, I ended up drawing this picture. Now here there's actually 3 different types of media. There's the pen for the portrait, a Sharpie for the background, and then I used some whiteout to make the stars and the moon. Spirited Away is my favorite, or my second favorite Studio Ghibli film. Princess Mononoke is my favorite, for sure. But this one, I tried to draw the Spirited Away poster with the Akatsuki clouds from Naruto. And I really like the way that they combine together because you have the red from her dress, and then you also have the red in the clouds. I would say this is probably the one that I get the best response from when I show it to people. I've definitely been meaning to do a Princess Mononoke drawing at some time, but I haven't gotten around to it. Now, every once in a while, you come up with an idea to make a painting, but after you sketch it and you ink it, you just never get around to coloring it. And so that's what happened here. This one has been sitting on my shelf for about 6 months. I think I finished drawing this in June, and I've been waiting to color it, but I just haven't gotten around to it. And so it's kind of just sitting around not doing much, and at this point I've given up. I don't think I'm ever going to color this drawing. I did a lot of portraits using pen, and later on I ended up using brush pens, but at this point I was still using a ballpoint pen for all of my portraits. So this drawing here, I actually got a lot of inspiration from this YouTube channel called Shinigami Artist. He has a drawing that's pretty similar to this, except the girl is drawn in an anime style, where mine's a little more realistic. But I had just gotten used to drawing reflections in the hair using a brush pen, a ballpoint pen. Now this one is based on the anime called Tanya the Evil, I think. I went through the first season. I didn't finish the second season. I guess it just wasn't super entertaining to me. That's supposed to be blood in the background. I think it turned out pretty well. My roommate thought it was like people walking through a fire or something. Some of these won't stay still. At this point, I had just started trying to learn the anatomy of the face. So if you look really closely to the face, you can see that I shaded each plane of the face with a slightly different color. It didn't show up that well because I was using a colored pencil to do this, where if I was thinking clearly, I should have used some kind of marker. The background I kind of just came up with on the spot. This was also done as at one of those meetup groups. Samdoesarts is my favorite Instagram artist, and I get a lot of inspiration from him. So if you follow him on Instagram, you can probably tell that this is drawing a lot of inspiration from one of his paintings. The coloring and the flowers I did on my own, but the style of the face is very similar to his. You can also see that I started using brush pen and experimenting with it, so there's a lot thicker lines in this one than my previous ink paintings. I started getting obsessed with brush pen for a while. Now, one of the issues with using Copic markers is they would bleed through my sketchbook. I know you're supposed to use like watercolor paper or something, but sometimes I just wanted to draw something on my sketchbook. So this drawing right here, I did using watercolor brushes, which are a lot lighter than Copic markers, so they didn't bleed through my sketchbook. I'm also trying to experiment with some color theory here, combining the blue and the orange. I started taking this watercolor class at a community college near me, and this was, I think, the second or third last assignment. Basically, they had us draw some fruits and flowers and then outline it using an ink pen. So I took all my inking experience and applied it here, and it turned out super well. This year, I participated in Inktober, and I'm proud to say I only missed 3 days. I know some of you probably managed to do all of it, but I had some other things come up. So this is my first or second Inktober drawing. It's a boy I found on Pinterest, and then I put some blue flames in the background because it looks super cool, and it's slightly influenced by I Don't Know Exorcist. I really enjoy doing this ink portrait, so for this one I had gotten tired of the brush pen because I couldn't get a lot of the finer details. So this one is done purely using a ballpoint pen. You can see that my hand drawing skills have improved a lot. I always struggled with hands, but for this one, I did a pretty good job. Now I tried experimenting with different colors, especially for the eyes. So for this one, I like to color the whites of the eyes in black, and I think it looks super cool. Makes him look like a super evil villain or something. This final drawing is a result of all my efforts in Inktober. So one of my favorite YouTubers is a guy called mmmmonexx or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but I really enjoy his cross hatching, and I took a lot of inspiration from him in the cross hatching that I did for this painting. And this one I spent a huge amount of effort on. I'd say I spent maybe 3 or 4 hours getting this one done. So overall, I'd say that was a pretty good year for me. My favorite piece that I did was Ichigo, the Bleach one, because I just really like the lighting in that image, and I also really like the way I did the background. So what about you? Have you been posting your art online? Have you been practicing? Have you been consistent with your art goals? Let me know down in the comments. I'm going to be posting more videos soon, so make sure to follow me, and I'll see you next time.